Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. The energy in this room is palpable. Please give yourselves a round of applause. When I started at Twitch 4 years ago, I was the first female product manager to join the company. Fast forward 4 years, and while we do have other women on our executive team, I'm still the only female product executive. In both of these situations, I was different from everyone around me, and I had to show that my approach to doing things could be just as successful as theirs. In this talk today, I'll talk about how I did that with actionable insights that you can all use at work too. So let's start with my first time as a product manager. Naturally, I was very uncomfortable. It was my first time doing product officially as a title. All of my roles before that had been in engineering. It was also my first time doing software product. I studied electrical engineering, and my engineering jobs were in hardware and systems roles. And then finally, it was my first time working in gaming technology as a self-proclaimed non-gamer. So naturally, why yes, I was a little bit stressed. And it didn't help when I got feedback from my team saying, "Tell us what to do," or feedback from my engineering manager saying, "Have a stronger opinion in meetings," or my peer product managers telling me, "Watch more Twitch." Because you see, most of the people there were core users of the product. They were friends with streamers and gamers, and they watched it day in, day out. But I didn't. So I had to figure out how to regain control. I started by listening to my team. By understanding what their needs were, I could build better product specs for them, and I could represent them better in meetings. I also talked to our users. I knew that I had a chip on my shoulder because I wasn't a core user of the website. And so I worked extra hard and went above and beyond to make sure I talked to users every week. And then I made it data-driven. I heard themes of feedback from our users, but I used data and combined the qualitative and quantitative feedback to prioritize my roadmaps. And I shipped small wins. It was really important that me and my team were able to ship products that were small and delightful that our users loved. And doing all of these things allowed me to reframe the conversation. If people ever said that I wasn't talking enough in meetings, I was able to turn around and say that we actually had really healthy team collaboration. If people were worried that I didn't talk to users enough, I was able to say that I actually did. I understood user sentiment because I went above and beyond to talk to a diverse group of users, whereas a lot of my peers were caught in their echo chambers of their friends. If anyone ever questioned that I could do a good job, I pointed to the metrics and the results that showed the products we were doing were loved by our customers. And finally, by shipping wins, my team morale went up, and so did my own confidence that I could actually do this job well. Now let's fast forward to the first time I became a product executive. I took on this role last April. And as you can imagine, I was very uncomfortable, and this time at a whole new level. It was my first time managing managers of managers. Up until then, I'd only ever been a manager, and so I had to learn how to delegate in a way that I never had before. It was also my first time running a product engineering org at scale. I had managed engineering teams before Twitch, but at Twitch, I'd only ever advocated for product. And now I needed to learn how to balance the needs of engineering and product at the same time. And then finally, it was my first time on an executive leadership team. I really wanted to build trust and capital with my executive peers. I wanted to prove it to them and myself that I could do this job, and I wanted to earn their respect. However, in the industry, people think that successful leaders look and act a certain way, and that just wasn't who I was. And so I had to figure out how to balance those things. Throughout my career, I've had people tell me, "You're too nice to be a successful leader. You need to rattle more cages. You need to step on other people's toes." And it wasn't who I was. So I had to figure out how to reconcile these things. So how did I do that? I regained control again. I started with my managers. I set expectations with everyone on my team. I made sure that we were all on the same page about what their jobs entailed. And we always focused on the goals and the outcomes. As long as they did their jobs well, met their goals, and people enjoyed working with them along the way, I let them do it their way. When it came to running a product engineering org at scale, we had to create structure. We had to balance building for technical debt, for operational excellence, and shipping high-quality products for our users. And this required adding process to the team, something that the team was originally very resistant. However, they realized that with this process, each person was able to take ownership of the work they were doing. And it wasn't until every team member felt that ownership that the whole team had room to thrive together. By doing this, I was able to empower my managers and my team to all do their best work. We built trust together. And I also needed to build that same trust with my executive peers. And so I used the same tactics. I wrote a product strategy. I evangelized it with all of my peers. And then I delivered on that strategy. And I was able to show them that I could do the job. My team was shipping products that everybody loved, our customers especially, and we were hitting our internal team goals and metrics. So I earned their respect. But the hard part was doing it authentically. So what did I do? I spent a majority of last year regaining control, earning respect, and building up my confidence. Once I did that, I was ready to turn the conversation around. I love this photo. Political beliefs aside, I thought it was incredible when House Speaker Nancy Pelosi took a photo that was intended as a personal attack and turned it around and reclaimed it for her benefit. As women in tech, we can never really remove our gender from the situation. It's always there. And you have to find a way to own the room every time. So the first thing I did, when people told me I was too nice or that I had to step on more toes, I rejected their feedback. I focused on the goal or the outcome, just like I did with my managers and just like I did when I was an individual PM. I made it data-driven. So my team, when we built up from last year to this year, I mentioned our morale increased. We were doing great work. When we did our engagement survey scores last year, my team was well below the company average. When we retook those scores this year after all the hard work we did together, we were one of the top 2 highest scores in the company. Data talks. And I was able to prove that I could do it my way and be successful as well. But I didn't stop there. Can't see it, but I revisited the conversation. I circled back and I talked to everybody. And I said that, hey, we can do it differently. We can be successful. And that was how I was actually able to broaden the viewpoints of the people around me. I drove the point home. So, as a PM and a woman in tech, there are often situations that can feel uncomfortable and out of your control. This happened to me when I became a product manager for the first time, and it happened when I became a product executive last year. But I was able to make it through both of these situations successfully. And I realized that there was an emerging pattern that enabled my success. The first was to embrace the uncomfortable. It's okay to be introspective. It's okay to be vulnerable. Understand what's so uncomfortable about your role. Be familiar with it. And then use that to regain control. I turned my discomfort into my superpower. I tackled it head on with objective approaches. And then finally, I reframed the conversation. I rejected stylistic and subjective feedback. I made everything objective and data-driven. And I'm very confident that everyone here can use these steps to take control of your career as well. And by doing so, You're not only helping yourself, but everyone around you. You will be broadening viewpoints to include new perspectives. You'll be making room for inclusivity in tech. And most importantly, you will be your authentic self. Thank you.